What's up, everybody? Aloha, shalom. We are about to experience the longest lunar eclipse in 1,000 years tomorrow, early in the morning. So for here where I'm at in Sedona, Arizona, I'm going to be going outside at 4 a.m. to witness it. I don't know about you, but this is something that I've been really looking forward to. And we're already in that energy. So I felt that now was a great time to begin to prepare ourselves by doing our weekly activation. For those of you who are new, thanks for coming to the activation portal. We've been doing these readings every single week for over 4 years now. And I've tried to stop at a couple of different times, and just funny things would happen to make sure that we kept this up. So there is a dedication to doing these activations for sure, not just with me, but with many of those returning beings who've been coming week after week to the activation portal. So those of you who've been returning again and again, thank you as well. An awesome global community has been building around these activations, and I'm super grateful. So I'm just shuffling the cards as you guys tune in. It's so good to see you all tuning in here. Yay, so good to see you. And as usual, I'm tuning in from the lovely, mystical, magical Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona. Where in the world are you? Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Today feels so powerful, doesn't it? Just like we're already in that eclipse energy, that full moon, lunar eclipse energy. I can feel the redness of the moon already. Phew. So, as we're beginning to tune into that frequency, now is a great time to unite, as we do every week, and amplify and also harness the magic that's coming in. Let me know in the world where you are tuning in from. Arkansas, North Carolina. Again, I'm tuning in from Sedona. We have another Arizona here. We have England in the house. I'm going to grab my Hebrew cards right next to me here. And dun, 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 the little treasure box. We have London in the house. This is what they look like for those of you who are new. They are handmade and handwritten by me. And the Hebrew cards work just like the tarot cards do. Each letter represents a different piece of archetypal wisdom in the story of life. So I'm just going to shuffle these as well. Yay, so good to see you all tuning in. So glad we're together for this special moment in time and space. All right. Thank you in advance to the archetypes, faces of the one, different angles of our own self, for coming to the forefront right now, illuminating what it is we need to know. Because we know all things, all answers are within us. So thank you for bringing to the surface that which is most important to begin with right now. What is the priority focus right now? Thank you in advance for showing us. So the challenge as we move through this week, what is it? What is it? The full moon activation is all about revealing the fullness of what's been going on all month, illuminating fully the picture so that we could see it clearly and begin to move through this second part of the lunar cycle. Because we still have all week to process this full moon part of the cycle, and then we have the final quarter, which is when we'll wrap it up. But the full moon is all about just soaking it in, looking at the whole picture, looking at the wholeness of the picture. So what's the challenge then this week as we do that? What is this week's challenge that comes with this powerful full moon eclipse. And why are we doing this? I want to pull a foundation card. Why are we doing this? Who is going to show us which face, which archetype is going to show us why we're going through this challenge? Show us what it is that we're needing to cultivate right now in order to move ahead with our lives and move on to the future in the best way possible, of course. And then with the Hebrew cards, who is our ally for the week? Who is the most supportive force for this week? Who's the one that we can lean on? The one that is our priority strength right now? So quiet. The challenge of the week is 7 of Swords. Looks like this. And don't forget, you guys, the tarot, gosh, it's used in so many more powerful ways than is actually taught. The ancient way of tarot provides so much more as far as how we can use it. And it still applies to our lives here and now in this present day reality. More on that later. Anyway, what I wanted to really stress in this moment is remember that the tarot is not just a tool for divination where we pull out cards and we, get some message, get some answer to the questions we're asking. They're also a visual tool for meditation. So don't forget that every symbol, every image, every color, every detail in the art is focused on the goal of implanting a specific message deep inside of your mind, into your subconscious, bypassing your ego, bypassing your judgments, bypassing any thoughts that may sabotage it. So if you just gaze at the image, it will do that work for you. Whereas if you try to conjure up the image yourself, you may complicate it by not picking the best colors or by adding details in that subconsciously the mind makes unnecessary associations with. So the cards depict these simplified and intentional versions of the message that you're trying to implant into your subconscious. So don't forget that. So the 7 of Swords being the challenge of the week it's telling us this. As you're looking at the truth of what's happening in your life right now, as it's, I don't want to say finally coming to the surface because it's there all along. You just have to look for it, right? But as now it's undeniable. It's in our faces. Just like the light of the moon is full, so is the light of the image in our mind just being projected onto the truth, right? So we're receiving all this information. We're finally getting ready to accept the truth and all the information being revealed. And this card is saying, while we do that, be careful. Don't be hasty. Don't rush to take action. Don't even rush to make solid decisions about the situation yet. Be patient. Know that you're coming out of a situation that you've worked really hard to leave behind. We collectively as well as a unified consciousness are coming out of a situation and have gone through a rite of passage recently, okay? There's this huge awakening going on and we're moving on to a different reality. But we can't just rush into that. We have to understand that there is a process and that if we do not carefully take each step with careful consideration, with close contemplation and observation of every thought that's coming in, we may put together the pieces of our reality just like it was before because that's what we're used to. Because that's what our cellular memory says to do, but we have to remain present in order to shift what's literally stored in our cells. And the only way to do that is to, first of all, stay vigilant of your own thoughts. Remain as the observer, watching your mind. Because thoughts become things. Because the building blocks of reality are all mental. So watch within first, very closely, what you're allowing in, what you're allowing out. Right? This is very much connected to the high priestess within. She's the archetype that is the gatekeeper in every man, woman, child. Activate her. Call upon her to help you with this process. She is there waiting, and it is an honor for her to serve you and for you to serve her. So call upon your inner high priestess, your inner gatekeeper, to watch very closely every thought coming in and every thought going out. And then as you speak, watch your words. Whose words are you really receiving? And what words are you offering, and to whom? What actions are you taking right now? And how can you continue to refine your behaviors in action, knowing that sometimes you might mess up, you might do something out of memory and recognize, oh shoot, gosh, me doing that is a reflection of my past and I'm just going to continue to create the same thing. Shoot, I shouldn't have done that. But you don't want to go, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Shoot, I shouldn't have done that. And then just stay in this space of victimization. You're going to get nowhere. When you recognize that you are doing a repeated behavior that is not in alignment with bringing in a new reality, the one you really want, tell yourself, wow, good job for recognizing that. Now I can make the change. It's okay. Once something is thought, said, or done, it's already been thought, said, or done. Accept it, learn from it, and move on. But right now, the challenge this week is about moving gracefully, moving carefully, moving, keyword, strategically. Remember, the way in which you piece your thoughts together, right? It's like he's picking up these swords. It's like the pieces of the challenge that shattered everywhere, right? It's like the challenge leaves a mess. And you got through it, but you still have to clean up the mess. And we make beauty out of that mess. We have to make order out of the chaos. So yes, there is this mess to clean up now. We've made it through to the other side, but we've got to take what mess has been left and turn it into something beautiful. Turn it into the thing that is new. We have to use our past to create the future. We can't just leave the remnants around thinking, oh, they'll just disappear. There's no out here in this reality. So the pieces that we left could be very physical. It could be like relationships that have been left with loose ends. You know, it could be relationships that haven't been closed up. It could be situations that haven't gained closure yet. But it could also be emotions that are all over the place. It could also be thoughts and bits and pieces of thoughts all over the place. And we have to, in order to get to this new reality we're wanting to step into, we have to look at that. What is the mess that we left behind? Okay, we did the work, but now we both at the same time have to clean up the mess and use the mess as compost to make the flowers, right? So look at what needs closure. And as you approach those relationships or projects or situations with the intention of bringing closure, remember that in that process of creating the closure is also the opportunity to create a new. So for example, if you're going to close up a relationship, watch your thoughts, your words, and your actions around that process of closure and insert your new awareness, your higher awareness, your ability to think higher thoughts, your ability to speak more high vibrational words with compassion, your ability to act with greater compassion. Utilize all that you learned in that process of closure. You see, and then it's like you're skipping ahead. So this is the challenge, but remember, the challenge is also always the gift. And this is how we transform or alchemize the challenge into the gift. We could either say, gosh, I left a mess and I don't even want to deal with it. I just want to keep going and progress and move on to my new life and ignore the mess I left behind. If you do that, you will experience more of the negative effects that this challenge gift is coming with. And you will experience more suffering. But for those of you tuned in right now who are also one with the bringing in of this message, thank you. You are receiving the opportunity right now to have a special tip as to how you can capitalize on this incoming energy and work with it. And not only, eliminate some suffering, but create more joy. Okay, so again, going back to these two different paths you could walk. You could either walk the more challenging route and say, I just want to keep moving forward. I'm not even going to look back at the mess that I'm leaving behind. Or you could say, I really want to see the mess I left behind because first of all, I'd be in denial if I thought that was just going to be brushed under some rugs somewhere because that doesn't happen. It's going to come back to haunt me. First of all, I got to accept that, right? Second of all, I'm really excited to look at the mess I left behind because there are golden coins hidden in there. There are little gifts hidden in there that if I go back and I take care of each piece with the new awareness, the new, consciousness that I've installed, the new software, if I go back to clean up the mess with this new frequency I'm maintaining, I already begin to make flowers out of the compost. I already begin to make diamonds out of that coal. So it's like, why wait for more material to insert your new awareness, to apply your newfound awareness? Use this new awareness to take full responsibility and full accountability for carrying through the process you just went through to completion, so that as you step into this new beginning, you make the most of it. If you want to experience this new beginning in the most joyful and beneficial and prosperous way, and when I say you, I mean you as in us as one, because it's not just for you in your individual life, but also that, but it's for us in our collective life and in our world and beyond. So if you, and I know it's you because you wouldn't be here if you didn't feel you have a purpose. At least there's some part of you that knows that, and that's why you're here listening. And I'm speaking to that part of you deep inside that really knows that you're here for a purpose. And this information is what's going to help you do the most with the light within yourself to really activate that purpose. And it's saying, the message is saying, and it's coming from within your own heart, within your own mind, it's saying, now is an opportunity to take a pause as you enter this new beginning. To look back at whatever pieces you may have left, whatever opportunities for closure you have left still open. Go straight to those things and insert your new awareness. Okay, because that's how you're going to carefully piece together your new reality. That's a part of the process. If you don't make peace with those final phrase, right? If you don't go back and really create that closure and from this new perspective, then you don't have a solid foundation to keep going. So the way that we carefully and strategically piece together the new reality is by first carefully and strategically sewing up the loose ends of the last piece of this tapestry, of our story, of our lives. Okay, so the challenge this week is making sure you're moving forward with strategy. Anchoring in your new awareness and really diligently and with dedication, with your heart in it, you know what I'm saying? Keep inserting that new awareness. Use everything that you face in this material realm, every relationship, every time you have an opportunity for communication, whether it's family, friends, strangers, whomever, or even if it's just dialogue inside your own mind. Use every opportunity in all dimensions, mentally, emotionally, and physically, to insert your new truth, to reveal this new light that you've just anchored in, to show that you have really learned something this month, or that you've learned something this week. Apply that new awareness. And again, a big part of that is making sure that you close up the past. Just look how he's looking over his shoulder too, okay? It's like this. This card reveals to you that if you don't create that closure, and from a solid standpoint too, from your newly cultivated light, if you don't close things up, they come back to haunt you. There will be some part of your awareness that is aware that, oh shoot, I did not close that up, okay? Even if 75% of your awareness is saying, no, I don't need to close it up, I'm just gonna move ahead because I like this feels good, I don't give a crap about what I'm leaving behind, screw it, leave it for someone else, right? There's still that 15% of your awareness, 25% of your awareness. So I'm saying 3/4 of your awareness is saying go. 1/4 of your awareness, 25% of your awareness is saying, I know the truth. And it doesn't matter if it's 15% or 25% or 5% or 1% or a percentage of a percent. It doesn't matter. Awareness doesn't work like that. The nature of consciousness doesn't care about how much, how big or how small. It's just saying that you're divided. And that division creates separation within yourself. It creates conflict within yourself, and it reflects into your individual reality and into our collective reality. So there should not be any little part of you inside that's going, I feel doing that closure. I feel like I'm not doing the work, because that little bit will create such a frequency of guilt within you. And the power of guilt is so strong. It is the lowest frequency. It will pull you down despite your ego's attempt to tell you again and again, nah, you can keep going. Don't worry about that. Somebody else can take care of that. No. Deep inside, you know the truth. Don't be like this guy and have to keep looking over your shoulder at what you know is about to come and knock you off your horse, mess up your path. Because there's only one here. If there's some part of you that knows you're leaving some work behind, that you're not doing your full duty, that little part of you is what's going to create the guilt, which is then going to manifest as a challenge. So why not get it out of the way now? It's truly the only option upon deeper examination here. You start to see that there's no other way to move ahead. It takes full integrity, full honesty with self, full accountability. So tie up those loose ends. Do your best. You will know what your best is. You'll know when you're complete, because you will tune in and you'll feel, okay, I really did all that I could do. I did my best. And then you can move ahead. So know that you'll only have to look over your shoulder and worry if you're carrying some guilt or shame. Do everything you can to eliminate that guilt or shame. Do your best. God, do the rest. And think about it this way, when you do your best and you don't carry any shame or guilt and you take full accountability and do your duty, then the energy you would have spent worrying or looking back over your shoulder is instead directed toward your goals, and you get there faster, with more ease, with more grace, without crisis. Because the crisis is just a manifestation of your own shame, guilt, your lack of effort. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Queen of Wands. This is the part of us that is the heart of our passion. It's the heart of our spirit. It's the intuitive voice within that guides us towards that which is our greatest joy. It's that spontaneous element in us that tells us, go, follow your heart, follow your mission. And so it's almost like they're having a conversation and she's saying, you're doing this for me. Okay? The part of you that right now is going through this challenge and is taking action to piece together the puzzle, tie up loose ends so that we can move forward, that piece that's doing all that work is doing it for that part of self that wants to focus more on what is good, what is true, what is right for the spirit and the heart. So that way we don't have to focus on, ooh, like what did we leave behind us? Ooh, like what situations did I not close up? What shitty stuff did I not fully attend to that is creating that shame or guilt, which is always going to take away from my ability to get in touch with my intuition so that it can guide me on my path. I cannot get in touch with my intuition to be able to know where to go next if I don't go through this. If I leave crap in the past, then I'm going to continue to create from that space of shame, guilt, emptiness. And I'm just going to keep creating the same things, and I'll never get in touch with the clarity of my intuition. And so what happens then if we don't do this work, this part of us is weakened. And we start to say, ooh, like I'm feeling a pull to go here, but I'm also feeling a pull to go here, and I'm also feeling a pull to go there, and this person's telling me this, and that person's telling me that, and I don't know which way to go, and I don't know what's my intuition from what's not. And I don't know what's my intuition from someone else's intuition. And the lines become blurred, and we can't trust ourselves. We might become paralyzed in fear and not say yes to any opportunities because we're so afraid that we think we're going in the wrong direction. So if we want to get to a place of clarity with our own intuition, to know when that fire comes up in us, that it's the proper fire, that it's the one that's not going to lead us down a path that's going to destroy us and burn us, but rather the fire that's going to ignite the flame within, the flame that is eternal, the spiritual fire that's going to propel us in the right direction of purification, a more positive element of the element of fire. So do we want to go down a path that we have to be burned to learn our lesson? Or do we want to go down a path that we feel that passion within that's going to lead us down a path of further purification and activation? I'd rather be purified and activated than burnt to a crisp. So if we want to activate the right kind of qualities of the fire element that's within us and all around us in all things, if we want to be a part of our own activation and the activation of the one in a way that is purifying and not destructive, then we need to do this work. To the degree to which you do this work will determine the degree to which you activate this archetype within you to be able to support the mission that we're all on right now, because we're all in this together. We're all being called to activate this part of ourselves so that we could do the work together. So no worries if you don't get it. You'll get an infinite number of chances to try and try again. That's the secret of card 22 in the ancient tarot, which you don't see in modern decks. It's the card called Annihilation. You have an infinite amount of time, so don't worry. But for those of you who are hearing this, who are really understanding it, who have compassion for this process, I'm calling upon you to accept this mission. How can you do the work this week to make sure that you don't recreate patterns? How can you go and really tie up all those loose ends and do the work you have to do to the extent that you know you have to do it deep inside? How can you take full responsibility and clean up whatever you're able to so that you can move forward with strategy here to really create a new world and not one that's built upon hidden denial, which is just going to recreate the old world? Okay, so do that work so that our intuition can become clear, so that our intuition is not a reflection of something we're in denial of, so that our intuition isn't in reflection of something that we've neglected to do or complete or carry out. Those things are going to muddy our vision. So let's take care of them so that we could have clear vision, so that that clear vision guides us to where it is we need to go, so that we can feel that passion and desire, that will to move in that direction. And then the ally, as we move through this process. And we already called her in. It's the Bet, it's the Hebrew letter Bet, which is connected to the High Priestess. We just spoke about her. We already called her in. We said it a minute ago. She is the archetype within every man, woman, and child who is the gatekeeper of your mind and of your heart, of your mind and your heart. She is the one that carefully watches the masculine and the feminine goings-ons in our mind, in our body, in our emotions. Okay, so for example, every thought that we think, whether it's a more masculine thought, like a thought about activity, or if it's a more feminine thought where it's a thought about surrender, for example, because even all thoughts can be categorized into masculine, feminine. Is it a more intellectual thought or is it a more intuitive thought? Okay, so she's the one that watches all those thoughts coming in, and she makes sure at the gate, to ask, is this thought going to be beneficial for everything else I've already got going inside here? For those programs I so carefully set into place. Is this incoming thought going to be resonant with that? Or is it something that I can allow to pass through me? Because all things are vibrations anyway. Let it pass. Nothing has to get stuck in the net that is your mind. But she is the one that's basically holding that net and saying, which one do I want to catch and which one do I want to let go by? Okay? So it's not just thoughts that are coming from the outside in. It's also the thoughts that are being conjured up within our own awareness. She's the one that's watching every single thing coming in, and the ones that we choose to give our power to and repeat and send out. She's also the one that watches what are our feelings, what are our emotions, how, she's watching our feminine emotional process where it's like, what are we just feeling? And then the masculine emotional process, how are we acting? How are we expressing those emotions? How are we acting out those emotions? So she's keeping an eye on what we're feeling and also then how we're going to express that feeling. She says, what are these feelings trying to tell me? And how can I utilize that information to move through this process so that I don't just sit with it forever, right? But how can I tune in, hear what the emotion is telling me, and then going on to the masculine side of the emotional process, do something with it. She's the one that gives the approval, okay? She's the one that says, let's explore this feeling. Okay, this feeling is telling us this. All right, now this is what we're gonna do with it. Go. She delegates how the masculine and feminine interact with each other inside of us. Okay, so really focus on mainly thoughts and emotions. The high priestess is the one that carefully observes all thoughts coming in and out, all emotions being felt and expressed. I'm going to say it one more time. She is the one that watches every thought coming in and going out. She is the one that watches every feeling we're feeling and every expression of each of those feelings. Every feeling we feel, every feeling going out, every thought we think, every thought we receive, and every thought we give out. Okay? So gatekeeper, she is the ally this week. And it makes sense. We already called her in, like I said. If you want to go through this process, and remember, all of these minor arcanum cards are an elaboration of the major arcanum cards. Okay? So they can always, when you see a minor arcanum card, you can always go, which major arcanum card can help me with this? And a little secret, all of them can. Every major arcanum card is kind of like an elder in the council that you want to tune into. So if you want a whole and holy perspective, ask each one, Fool, how can I move through this part of the process best? Magician, how can I move through this part of the process best? High priestess, how can I move through this process best? And you go through all of those major arcanum cards, and together they will form your full answer. But she comes up as the priority focus to help you get through this, especially right now, considering the details of our situation. And this part of the process that we're in with the moon even, right? So she is the one that says, okay, as you move through this process of carefully and strategically, cleaning up your mind and refining your thought processes, cleaning up your emotions, refining your emotional process, cleaning up your physical reality and refining that. As you do that, so carefully and strategically, she's the one that says, remember, it starts within. So I'm going to help you there as the gatekeeper of what is within. So that ultimately, when we get stuff in order in there, we can expect it will be reflected out there, as within, so without. Okay, so allow that part of you that is the gatekeeper to assist you in being very careful and strategic as we close up one chapter and begin anew. As we even utilize the process of closing up the old chapter to insert who we newly are, using the ashes, right, of what's burned down as compost. Using the process of closure this week as an opportunity to already begin anew, simply by being who we newly are. And once we go through this and we're on the other side, we'll have a much clearer connection to our intuition. We'll have a much clearer direction then, because we'll be able to, without confusion, know with confidence instead in which direction to move. Thank you guys so much for being here with me for this activation and for helping to bring this message to the surface, to the light. I'm very much looking forward to anchoring in this energy of the full moon eclipse and for doing this work with you all. I know you can do it. I know you will do it. And if you have any friends or family or Facebook groups that you think would appreciate this message, please go ahead and share it with them. If they're not on Facebook, this video will shortly be loaded to YouTube, Rebecca Magic, and Instagram, Rebecca Magic. So there are other platforms if they don't have one available. Please share it with those you think could be uplifted by this message, who could really use the extra support and guidance right now. Or share it with those who you think could further activate this message with us. Those who you think will readily receive this information and apply it with focus and with dedication. And for those of you who have reached out about my books, because you want to learn how to activate these archetypes in you, thank you for your support. And for those of you who've reached out about my course, that is still up and running, my course on the major arcanum, the occult symbolism of the major arcanum of the tarot. Ask me about it if you haven't heard about it yet. And for those of you who are new, just know that my passion is to show the world how to use the tarot beyond a deck of cards. Tarot means royal path, which is all of life. And we're all walking that path. And so I'm here to show you the ancient way of tarot beyond the manipulations, which, by the way, you don't need to be afraid of. Manipulations are only limitations, but there's truth in all things. So there's truth even in the manipulations. But I'm here to show you how to move with all of that and how to use these archetypes beyond cards, how to access them within yourself in all the right moments. There are strategies, you guys, that have not been shared in modern time, that have not been shared in modern tarot books. Even in old tarot books, there's some information that I have yet to see written in books or to be shared with the world. And I've got so much information that I'm putting into words to be able to share with you. So hopefully this week I'll have a new video coming out about how to use the tarot in ways you never thought you could, in ways that utilize the whole deck beyond just doing a little reading with cards, in ways that integrate all of the cards at once. So if you want to know more about the ancient methods and the ancient techniques of how to use the tarot, please reach out to me and I'll make sure I keep you informed. And by the way, if you're not yet following my new page, it's Royal Path Tarot. I go live from here from now on every week. I also have 2 private groups you can find on this page on Facebook, Royal Path Tarot. The private groups are called Royal Path and also Shabbat Crew, where we share every weekend about the current Torah story from a mystical perspective as it applies to all beings. And we also light the candles together for Shabbat every Friday night live in that group. So if that interests you, please go ahead and join. Thank you so much for being here in this portal and for sharing it with your friends and family and just growing this special space where we really do work together. I appreciate your bringing your special light to this space. And enjoy the eclipse if you could see it from where you are in the world. And I'll be watching with you. I will see you tomorrow for the Shabbat candle lighting in our Shabbat crew group. And don't forget, you can look up 7 of Swords, Queen of Wands, and the letter Bet, B-E-T, in the Hebrew alphabet, and put them on your altar or make it your phone background because they are a visual tool and they really work. All right, love you guys. Peace.